All right, taking a little detour from the main Truckstang project to visit our tailgate, and more specifically how I came up with a latching mechanism in order to allow this tailgate to be able to lock down similar to a regular truck tailgate. Now, as stated before, this panel used to be from the front of the S10 bit I chopped off. I ended up welding a couple of brace pieces of metal to create sides right here. Same thing right here. Our latch mechanism is actually a couple of rods right here that are hooked up to this cam of sorts. And what happens is when the thing rotates, it pulls these rods out from either side, like you see, like that. It'll pull that side out, and the top portion pull that side out. And these rods are inserted into holes on these panels here and here. Now, our rod is a simple 1/2-inch conduit with a eye bolt welded on one end and a scrap bolt from the scrap pile. Don't know what size it is, didn't care, didn't matter. But it's probably around 3/8 to 7/16 in diameter, but the tread is metric. But anyway, the bolt is welded into the other end of the conduit and trimmed down a little bit so it won't be extending too far into there. Also on the ends here, I welded short pieces of 1/2-inch conduit to serve as guides, so these little rods will be able to at least stay in position as shown. So I'm going to pull this thing loose so we can look at this real quick. Get over here. Drill the hole in the side panel to allow for the rod to protrude through there. And there's a hole right there for the rod to go into when the thing is in the locked position. It's locked. Well, latched, we'll just say. Same thing on that side. Now, the thing is, how are we supposed to turn this thing? Well, let's start with these 1032 holes that are drilled right here. Those are going to be used for this little fabricated knob thingy that I made from a cap from a truck bushing. Let me get all this other hardware out of here first. The cap from the bushing, just a simple cap, but I welded a couple of tabs here to be able to actually get a grip on it to turn it. Also a couple holes drilled opposite of the center hole for the 1032 bolts that'll be going into there. Now, go away from that for a second. The next thing for completing this tailgate will be a big ass piece of sheet metal that actually will go up here. And as you can see, there's a big ass hole cut in here that's supposed to be centered right where our little cam thingy is at. Now, our little knob that I showed you will be secured on to that little bolt that's welded in place right there. And it'll obviously cover that hole up and allow you to twist this thing. Kind of going off on a tangent a little bit. On this cam thing here, these little short bolts here are 3/8 bolts that I welded in place on this piece of flat stock. And that's another 3/8 bolt that I welded to this member right here to be able to hold this thing. So, all scrap metal and off-the-shelf hardware. But let me go ahead and reassemble this thing so we can demonstrate how this thing operates. Stand by. Okay, have our whole assembly put together with our little knob thingy, as well as our panel right here. Now, if you're wondering what the hell this is for, it's to allow me to more or less hold the panel in place on the top, because, let me get this right here. Put that right there. The intent is going to be to weld that piece of trunk lid in place on top of our tailgate, so the whole thing looks the way it does. Still got to trim it some because, well, our lock thingy here doesn't line up, but yeah, whatever. But that's the whole intent right there, is to have this type of setup here. And as you can see, straight panel all the way across. Let me get this out of the way because I need to open the tailgate here. As you can see, can't open it, but now you can. You can see the rod only protrudes out a little bit on that side. It's almost flush on that side, but that's what our little conduits on either side are supposed to be for. And lock it down. Tailgate is down, ain't going anywhere. And this thing here kind of mimics the gas cap that would have been dead center on the Mustang panel. So at least it kind of has a look that would be symbolic of a Mustang rear end, save for the taillights, of course. But that's a whole nother animal. But yep, we got our tailgate more or less done, save for the lip here. That'll be the next thing that'll be seen in the main video for Truckstang 2. But I just wanted to touch on the latch mechanism in the tailgate. So going back to the main video if you hadn't already, or go to something else, doesn't matter. I'm done with the tailgate latch setup. So till the next time, stay tuned.